All right, welcome back into another episode of Man Bunkbed. Let me adjust the bunks here. We've got a new third bunk, but he's not new to the show. My twin Josh is filling in for Cole there. Josh can be found at BradleyTwin01 on most of his social medias. Of course, then we've got Nolan, aka Fat Squirtle. Again,
hello.
You're not going to find him on social medias unless you're on the dark Reddit webs. But
you'll never find me there, though.
Or the Fantasy Football Advice Network.
The only social media that matters, Fantasy Football Advice Network. Duh.
That's it. And then of course me, Zach Bradley at the Zach Bradley. I'll be your host for this one. So welcome in, guys. First week of actual countable NFL football in the books.
I don't know if we can count most of those games, though. Most of them were a lot more chaos than anything.
No, that's true.
It was the most hard to guess what was going to happen week I've seen in a long time. I guess it's
bettors.
Yeah,
it went poorly. Probably.
Yeah, boy lost a lot of money this weekend.
That's what I was about to say. Is do you know how many people put safe bets on predictable money lines and absolutely got destroyed?
The predictable Bengals money line, the Vikings money line, I was going to say Bills money line, but that also sucked.
That was predictable, even with Aaron Rodgers, to be honest.
No. I don't think anybody predicted that Josh Allen was going to throw 4 picks.
Yeah.
He's better than that.
Excuse you, it's 3 picks.
Yeah, well, okay. After 2, does it feel like it matters?
Hey, so Josh Allen leads the NFL in interceptions. I'm just saying. I saw a fun stat the other day. He, in the last 17 games, is averaging 2.5 turnovers per game, interception and fumbles combined, which is wild to think about, but also leads into the Josh Allen is a choke artist narrative.
No, there's a term for this, okay? And the favorable term is gunslinger. He's just a little bit of a gunslinger, okay?
He's Jameson Winston.
Ooh.
Whoa.
You know what? We're swapping bunks on that one. You're
managed to the top bunk.
You managed to make to the top bunk on that one.
All right. Hey, before we jump too far into that, we're gonna keep talking week 1. But I do want to shout out the FantasyFootballAdvice.Network is the new website. We talked about it last week a little bit. It's the same concept, the same group. We just merged with another like-minded site, and everything works better. Everything is smooth. We have an application on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store that you can download, and you can do everything from the website on the app, or you can jump online and do your content that way. If you want to create content and post it and monetize your platform, Fantasy Football Advice Network lets you do that. If you want to just jump on and ask questions, validate your fantasy decisions, or questions that you're wondering about, it's all available to you. So please jump on there, FantasyFootballAdvice.Network. All right, so back to week 1. Josh, talk to me real quick about being a Giants fan and what that was like for you in week 1. Okay.
Man, it was tough. We won't get into too much. I promised to plead the fifth on all the podcasts, but the reality is that was a bad game. That was a bad game. Everybody knows it. The Giants owned it. Daniel Jones got out in front of it and said, hey, look, we are much better than that. Even Cowboys, fans, pundits and stuff that called them were like, we thought it would be closer. I tell you this, I think the biggest liability isn't Daniel Jones. It's not the no-name receivers. It is absolutely the Giants' O-line.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Thomas needs some help. He was the only one that even attempted to actually block Micah Parsons all night. And he got him a few times, but Evan Neal would touch him or could completely miss him. And then John Michael Schmitz, he's a rookie, man. As a center, he's got some room to grow. But that 20-yard snap behind Daniel Jones was ridiculous. Now, it was raining, and they're playing on that new god-awful turf that also killed Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But that was a tough game. I mean, good Lord, the Dallas offense looked bad on paper. But the reality is they just didn't get to play. I mean, good Lord. That was a tough game. Still a Giants fan, but if we lose to the Cardinals this week, I might be shopping for tattoo laser removal.
Yeah. I feel like the Giants had the same issue like a lot of the teams had. It was just bad O-line play. The amount of sacks this weekend was just wild.
Yeah, I mean, what are we total up, Nolan? It's like
Oh my,
84 sacks.
80. Yeah, it was just an obscene number of sacks this week.
Well, look, I wanted to
84?
jump on here and
Yeah.
tell you that we had a bunch of close games, but we didn't. So
We
there were
didn't.
only, I think there were 7 games that were decided by a score or less, and everything else was not so great. So
I'm over here running the numbers. I'm like, and just in the Giants game, what was that, about 72 of those sacks?
There were 7 of them in your
7.
game.
Josh, I don't want to blame it on Daniel Jones, man. 7 sacks. That's what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I saw somewhere the average for his time to get the ball off was like 3 seconds. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, he looked clean. Their first drive was good. He rushed for like 27 yards in the first drive. Saquon looked good, but good Lord, if the ball left his hands or he didn't run with it, turnover.
Yeah, it's brutal. Well, look, hey, my New Orleans Saints caught a W against the Tennessee Titans, and it was their first time playing Derrick Henry. So they played the Titans several times since he's been there, but he's never been healthy. So first time playing Derrick Henry, they found out quickly that he's very hard to tackle, but they still got away with the W on that one. And I'll tell you, watching the Saints offense, it was clear that if they can pass protect for Derek Carr, that this offense is going to be explosive. Especially on the passing side of it, there are going to be multiple players that are playable on this one.
Yep. My Chargers lost 2, so I'm with you on this one, Josh. Ours was a shootout, though. It was a fun game to watch at
Yeah,
least.
so what are you supposed to do with
What are you supposed to do?
Like, I'm not going to compare them too much, but
At least ours was close.
this is the one-up competition I'm sad to win.
Yeah, Nolan, yours was literally the exact opposite of what Josh's was.
Mm.
Hey, so we all had really interesting. Josh's team got blown out because they're trash.
Yep.
Your team lost a shootout, but at least you could say that they were points. And then my team won in a close game. All right.
Oh, look at us. Hitting
Clear
all.
winner.
Got the spread.
The 3, but that's okay. We'll take
Whatever,
it.
because
So,
you're the only winner.
It does make me feel better to have seen all of the teams that were upset the way they were and know that I don't think it was an isolated Giants problem. It felt like a bunch of teams who did not prepare to play football.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, even the Jets coming back and winning on 1 score without Aaron Rodgers seems ridiculous. The Bengals getting absolutely dunked on by the Browns, ridiculous.
You saw that with a lot of the star quarterbacks too. A lot of them just looked rusty. Burrow, we all know what happened to Burrow, but still, Jalen Hurts looked rusty. Lamar looked rusty. All these big money, big name quarterbacks, all of them just didn't look great. Honestly,
Kirk Cousins,
yeah.
And then look, conversely, a lot of these newer guys had great games, right? Like Brock Purdy and the 49ers, killer game. Anthony Richardson, I think, surprised a lot of people in week 1. If he turns around in week 2 and does something, you start going, if he sustains success, he's already through 1 week, he's the best quarterback in the draft. And it's just 1 week. We're not overreacting here on 3-Man Bunkbed, okay? But through 1 week, stats-wise, clearly the best quarterback from that group.
I mean, first-year starters, Jordan Love, too, he looked almost like the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he
this
looked really
weekend.
good.
Money. I've been repping Jordan Love for months, and it was nice to see that ship get cashed in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's wild. Then of course, a couple of brutal injuries, right? 2 guys that people have plugged in as starters that are gone. J.K. Dobbins owners, I'm one of you, gone. And he looked good. He came in, he scored a touchdown. He looked good. He just, he tore his ACL. It's brutal. And then the NFL's terrible change to trying to get all turf fields claimed another victim and took out future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Josh sent me a video, Nolan. I don't know if you've seen the video where they clearly got his ACL snapping.
Oh, yeah. You watched his calf and everything jiggle right after it happened. Yeah, it was...
I'll say this, though.
Regret watching that video.
As wild as some of the people who snap their ACLs or tear their ACLs, his was kind of anticlimactic. I mean, it happened, and he stood up, and he sat back down, and was just
he sat.
Well, that's so. I thought the same thing until I read it. It's the difference between an ACL and an Achilles. On an Achilles, there was one quarterback, I forget who it was, but came in and like threw passes with a torn Achilles, but a torn ACL, you can't put weight on it at all.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco.
Rodgers, fantasy-wise, that's devastating. But let's be real. Anyone who took Aaron Rodgers got him in like round 9.
Later than that, maybe.
At the earliest, right?
Yeah.
So, hopefully
that fantasy-wise.
If it was Superflex, I could see how that would hit you. But let me be honest, after this week, I lost a Superflex match where my opponent put Devin Singletary in at Superflex. He didn't need a second quarterback to beat me. That's how bad it was.
Oh,
that's brutal.
Yikes. Yeah. I mean, on top of like just the 2 big injuries, there was just like a lot of small ones too. Deontay Johnson's going to miss a few weeks with his hamstring. Eckler's ankle, he may miss time too because of his ankle again. Like,
Aaron Jones having a day, he gets hurt.
Yep.
There were a lot of injuries. I agree with you on that. Not to mention, it was the tight end week of hell. I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
Like the top 3 options, tight end, all didn't play. Or half the guys carried injury designations into the game. I mean, Sam Laporta, shout out to Sam Laporta, is Nolan. What you said? He's the 7th. He's the 7th.
He was 7th,
in week 1, and he's a rookie tight end, right? Like where the position that is notoriously hard to break out in and be good early in your career. And he's the 7th best tight end in the NFL right now, fantasy wise. So. It's a brutal week for tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, hell, look at like what the top 5 tight ends that were drafted in most leagues. Kelsey didn't play. Andrews didn't play. Pitts is suffering the Falcons curse. Hawkinson had a good week. Goddard got 0 points. Like,
and off of like 40 something. I mean, didn't he play like a ton of snaps?
Yeah, he was on the field. It was like 85% of plays or something, just crazy high, and he just got nothing.
How'd the receivers do in that one? Did they? I mean, they were fine. 18 for Devontae.
Yeah, no, they were fine.
Antonio, AJ. Sorry out there. So yeah, look, crazy week 1. Super glad to be back for that though. Let's talk some waiver wire stuff. So be it injury need or overperformance in the previous week, maybe clarity on like a committee situation or a new quarterback where you can now trust a receiver or tight end. There's always going to be waiver wire pickups, and you have to watch that carefully throughout the season. Nolan, who's some of your waiver wire pickups?
All right, so I took the wide receivers on this one. I think everybody's top pick right this week on the waiver wire. You're putting most of your money in as Puka Nacua. Like, of course.
Gotta be Puka
Nacua. Dude had 15 targets. He's going to be Cooper Kupp while Cooper Kupp's not there. Some other intriguing ones I like, though. Nico Collins got 11 targets. He's only 22% owned. Kendrick Bourne got 11 targets. He went off. My favorite, probably, though, is Zay Jones. So if you look at Jacksonville, as much as they throw the ball, Kirk is off the field as much. If they're in a 2 wide receiver set, Zay Jones is the other one that's in. And then some ones, I don't know if you need a tight end off the waivers this early, but Zach Ertz got 10 targets. And then with Dulcich getting hurt and Troutman already just being Sean Payton's boy, he is if he has one of his guys, he makes sure they gets the touches. So on top of his current tight end getting hurt, Troutman's going to get a lot of looks this coming up week 2.
Oh, yeah. And look, only because you mentioned tight ends, I'll shout out a former Razorback as well. Hunter Henry's owned in 9% of leagues, and he led the tight ends this week with 20-something points, something like that.
Ooh, and my sneaky one, my super deep one is Calvin Austin III. He is owned in 1% of leagues. But
Memphis alumni.
Memphis alum. With Deontay out, man, he's going to eat.
Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'm done.
No. So look, tons of good options for wide receivers. Remember when you're the favorite waiver trick in our league is when you put your waiver claims, you have to layer it in a way that if you don't get your first guy, you can get your second guy at the same cost. Conversely, if you get your first guy, you might still want to get the second guy, so you layer in you might technically claim him as a waiver, 2 or 3 times if he's the second one, just to make sure that it goes through in such a way. I think in our league, I've got 9 waiver claims set in for like 2 guys or 3 guys to make sure that I get them in the way that I would drop players on my roster. It's a cerebral game, okay? It's important. Well, look, some of the there are a bunch of good running backs that I would look at on the waiver wire. So not necessarily anybody that's like at least through week 1's going to be a league winner, but some guys that are definitely worth going out there and getting your claims on. So I divided them up into tiers. Okay, I was trying to be fancy with how we ranked them. First, I want to call out Josh. You looking grumpy, man? You looking grumpy as hell down there.
I'm reading, dude.
He's got that angry face. Chill out, man.
Okay, just
Hey, man, relax your jaw, unclench your teeth.
You can't have vanilla Vic behind you and then be like.
Y'all missed it. When it started, I was like full on ninja mask hiding under the FFA banner. Like you don't see my eyes.
All right, so look, my tier 1 running backs, I got 2 guys in the tier 1, like the prioritize if you're going to go get running backs. First one's Kyren Williams. He outsnapped Cam Akers, 2 touchdowns, and it didn't look fluky to me. It looked like that was like game planned, and that you might have to look at a committee situation, or maybe that Cam Akers could be like the 1B to Kyren Williams 1A. And so it's definitely a situation I would clearly monitor going into week 2. If we see another situation where he outsnaps Cam Akers or scores more touchdowns, gets prioritized in the red zone, like Kyren Williams is a guy in an offense that should be explosive. Sean McVay has high-scoring offenses. So go get you some Kyren Williams shares. After that, I would look at Josh Kelly. So Nolan mentioned it earlier with Austin Eckler. Eckler's banged up, and he's kind of got a history of doing that. And there's not really any other running backs on this roster that inspire confidence. So when he gets banged up, they leaned on Josh Kelly last week, and he looked really good. And so I would those are my tier 1 guys. Tier 2, I would look at Tyler Algier. So in this offense, they're like
they ain't throwing the ball.
Yeah, they're not throwing the ball. They want to pass it 12 times and then rush the ball 40 times. And so all of us that thought Bijan was getting 90% of the carries are just, we were just silly. They got 2 guys. Yep. You might be able to play 2 Falcons running backs and win games that way. And so Tyler Algier comes in at tier 2. You want to get some more weeks in before you're confident that that's how it's going to go, that they're just going to punt on the passing game. But I would look at Tyler Algier. And then rounding out my tier 2 of guys is Kenny G, Kenneth Gainwell in Philadelphia. Again, another former Memphis alum. It's a great time to be a Memphis fan when you get so many running backs in the NFL. He outsnapped everyone in the Philly backfield. Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch. DeAndre Swift was worthless for fantasy purposes. Kenny G was the guy here. And so he's still not in that rushing backfield where there's a ton of options. He's still not like a go out and make him your number 1 priority guy, but he is tier 2. I mean, he had a lot of production in the first week, and they prioritized. So we'll look at it week 2 and see if he keeps going. If you got a chance to get him and stash him, do it, because if it turns out that's true, you got a guy in a really good offense. Then we're going to go to tier 3, and I've only got one group of guys in tier 3, and it's all in the same offense because someone in the Baltimore Ravens running back corral is going to be valuable for you. The problem is they got 3 guys plus a quarterback that are all going to rush the ball, and now without J.K. Dobbins, it's not really clear, to me at least yet, who the guy is. Justice Hill had 2 touchdowns, but Gus Edwards historically has looked like the better guy. And then they're bringing Melvin Gordon from the practice squad. So there's definitely rushing upside in this offense. That is clear. But I just don't know who.
You've also got those JT rumors that came out today too.
Yeah. And, there's still – I guess I'll round out tier 3 with either the Baltimore Raven guys or some of those free agents because it's coming. Those guys are going to get signed. The amount of injuries we had in week 1, Leonard Fournette and Kareem Hunt are going to find teams.
So I'm going to roll back to your Kyren Williams one because I saw an interesting tweet from Pro Football Network earlier. Kyren Williams played 65% of all snaps, and Akers got the majority of his snaps in the fourth quarter. when the game was already wrapped up. And all of the 2-minute drills and third downs Kyron Williams took.
Oh, dude, like that's a choice. That's not
Yep.
a coincidence. I mean, that's like So Kyron Williams, top of the option for
Top
running
of it.
backs.
Yep.
Maybe overall, it's hit wild that it's 2 Rams guys, but Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams.
Yep. Those are the guys right now.
Yeah. And remember, layer your picks. You might not necessarily want both, but you want to get one of them for sure.
Right. Definitely.
And so, layer that in there. Like I said, Nolan, I've got in our redraft league, I've got 9 waiver claims, and it's really on like 3 guys. So
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking right now. I'm taking some pick options here, and I'm realizing that I just don't have enough space on my bench.
Yeah.
It's a really shallow league.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at some like QBs on waivers too, Jordan Love, I feel like I can pull it up.
Purdy.
Jordan Love, very low owned. Purdy, very low owned. Baker, if he can do it again, he looked good, man.
Shout out to Baker Mayfield.
Shout out to Baker doing it.
You were good.
Derek Carr's on a lot of waivers. Like, there's some talent out there sitting on the waivers right now.
Speaking of Derek Carr, Nolan, I don't remember. You might have said it. I might have missed it. Did we get some Sheed love in this?
I didn't give you any Sheed love, but I should have.
All right, boys.
Shout out Rashid Shaheed. We also, I don't know how many of y'all saw that video on ESPN. Derek Carr saying, "Hey, we're giving this to this man deep." And if he'd have thrown that ball a little better, that'd have been an 80-yard touchdown.
Oh, for sure.
No doubt.
He needed to throw that ball about 5 yards further, and it would have been all day.
He did so well that I'm only going to bring up the fact that he definitely got stripped in the opening play.
Oh my God, the opening kickoff was so sad.
Special teams are different.
I'll be honest, I'll blame that more on the defender because that was such a textbook strip. I mean, it was perfect.
It was perfect. He just punched right on the ball. But also, if you're in one of those weird leagues that gives points to returns, then also a valuable pick there. I think we're all in a league together that returners get points.
Yeah, the cat had 200 plus all-purpose yards.
Yep.
So he does affect the game several different ways. So shout out New Orleans Saints and Rashid Shaheed. And Derek Carr. Worth a stash because if they can figure out how to pass protect,
oh my God,
it's coming. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it.
I need a disclaimer here, per person, potential bias.
They know.
That's fine.
It's
very obvious who we root for in this.
The people who watch the show know I'm a Saints fan, so it's not a big deal. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit of Week 2 stuff. We don't really have a start on sit-ems. We're just going to talk about some of the games that are coming up and people that maybe we would sit from those matchups, or maybe just games we're really excited about with a lot of fantasy implications. The first thing I want to start out with is if you were one of the lucky chosen, as I was, to start the Dallas Cowboys defense.
Oh my God, they're about to do it again too.
Be prepared to start them Week 2.
They're running it back.
Week 2, they get Zach Wilson and the New York Jets offense, and I gotta tell you, I mean, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Robert Saleh all day was talking about how they are starting Zach Wilson all year. Period. Sure, they'll try and bring in a guy. Zach Wilson's our guy. Zach Wilson's our starter. Zach Wilson's the guy. And, God, you said it that many times. It's got to be bullshit, though,
right? Doesn't it feel
like
he's trying to positive, positive affirmations, speak that good news into existence?
He's already not the guy. You already brought in a quarterback. You obviously don't trust him.
Well, dude, his highlight from that game was Garrett Wilson making a catch he had no business doing.
No, so he basically took the ball where it was thrown and tapped it where it should have been thrown.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, Zach, this is this side.
Right here, let me do it. And he put it where it was supposed to be thrown. It was...
Oh, yeah.
It's a Garrett Wilson highlight. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a Cowboys message. You start that Cowboys defense. Conversely, I don't know that I'm starting the Cowboys offense. They weren't that good against the Giants. The Giants defense, surprisingly, I know there were 40 points, but they had 3 touchdowns on defense.
Yep.
Was that right, or 4 touchdowns?
I see 1 defensive touchdown, but
Josh, how many touchdowns they have? They
had 3 forced fumbles and 2 interceptions.
More than I'm comfortable discussing.
They only had one defensive touchdown,
If
that
you
looks
were going
like.
to start
But
someone from the Cowboys defense, the obvious answer is Tony Pollard. He looks great. For a guy that everyone spent the last 4 or 5 months going, he can't be an every down back. I think he scored 2 touchdowns, and one of them was dragging Giants defenders over into the end zone. Again, Memphis fan.
That's 3 this episode. We're doing it, guys. We're doing
shout
it.
out to Tony Pollard because he killed it.
Well, we're not getting to 4 because Antonio Gibson was trash. Okay, look.
But see, here's the thing. There were so many guys like that. Like, Antonio Gibson shouldn't have been 0.9 points. Christian Kirk shouldn't have been. I think it was like 1.9 points. Jamar Chase, 9 points. The guy that went 1-2 in almost every league.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins, 0 for 8. I mean,
Dallas Goedert, 0 points.
So many people that absolutely got burned by their guys. That, like, the lineup adjustments this week are going to be, like, brutal. You've been putting in dudes in your starting spots that didn't belong in your flex.
Well, remember, we got to temper some expectations for bad matchups or bad execution the first week where, like, your guys, like, you're going to keep playing them. Like some of them. Some of them you start maybe, like, the worry meter starts creeping up. But, like, Dallas Goedert with that many snaps and no receptions, that won't keep happening, right? Like, that can't keep happening. Christian Kirk, conversely, talent's not the question here.
Yeah.
The question is too many mouths to feed. Okay.
A lot of people throw the ball too.
And he clearly wants to feature Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
You know what? Hold on.
Money.
Let us take a second to say something about Calvin Ridley missing a year and some change of football and coming back like he did not miss a freaking day.
Yo, there's a couple guys like Michael Thomas too. Virtually missed 2 full years. Came back, looked great.
I'm going to leave that one alone. I said
look, I did it for you so you didn't have to. Before we move too far off it, so Josh, the Cowboys defense kind of got you. So Arizona's defense also had 6 sacks last week and a defensive touchdown and scored 24 fantasy points.
So the Cowboys, here's the reality with the Cowboys defense. Trayvon Diggs is going to eat, but he also is going to allow the most passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
But the Cowboys defense is led by one person. His name rhymes with Shmika Schmarsons.
Yeah, no doubt.
That dude is a mutant. Now, that being said, the Giants O-line is still trash. And, the Cardinals could be a problem, but I think they got rattled early. And they're going to start the game off with the Cardinals, I think, a little more conservatively, which is hard to do because all they did was run for the first, 7 plays in the Giants game. But the second that ball left his hands, like I said, turnover.
Yep.
So I have to imagine that they're going to be coming into the Cardinals with an entirely different mindset on how to play the way they played. So we'll see. I think that seems like an easy win for a team that is not so obviously tanking.
But if you're comparing Micah Parsons, it's not like they don't have Zaven Collins and other people that rush very well. They got 6 sacks. It's not like they didn't.
Montez Sweat. They've got
They've got a bunch of talent on that team.
Our point being, Josh, we are at least.
We're worried about your boys.
We're worried about Vanilla Vic.
Don't you guys worry. Don't you guys worry. I'm dropping the money line on the Giants. Okay.
What's the line?
Hey, you know what? Let me borrow that money and put it on a team that might win, and then we'll work on that, right?
Everybody knows you don't make big money betting on the safe bets. Okay.
Not true.
You make a bet on the Powerball.
Is this risk it to get the biscuit? Hey, bet on Sam Houston State. That's where you get the money.
Yeah. Hey, man, how much is it if I go ahead and call Giants for the Super Bowl? That's got to be like a plus 14,000, right?
Yeah.
Oh
you know what, Josh? You go ahead.
You throw that money away. That's fine.
Hey, look, Kevin taught me that in the office. If anyone ever gives you 10,001 odds, drop a 20. You never know.
It's actually decent gambling advice.
You're the favorites. The money line's a bad pick for you.
We were.
You're a 6-point favorite.
That game, but it wasn't. I don't remember being by a lot though.
Yeah, you were a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, nobody thought the Cowboys were going to absolutely destroy us. But
let's be real. Josh Dobbs and Dak Prescott, very different quarterbacks.
Speaking of dudes whose last names are Dobbs, well, Dubes is a little different, but you called it, Zach. He looked good. Everyone on Green Bay looked good. That was the surprising performance.
All preseason, this guy was featuring Dobbs. Dubes. Thanks, Josh. Now I'm messing it up.
I got him.
Dubes.
Yo, when Christian Watson comes back, that offense is going to be insane.
We'll give credit too. I do expect some sort of formal apology for no one recognizing my hype over Calvin Ridley, because he was awesome. Okay, I feel like I actually lost that trade a little bit, Zach.
Well, you can't win them all, right? You know what? Hold on. Let me look up something real quick while we're talking about this. Hey, how good was Matt Stafford in the first week?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I think this cat had he only had 14 points. All right, so he had 300 and something yards, no touchdowns. Matt Stafford. All right, but that feels like an
Kyron Williams got them all, and Cam Akers. They got 3 rushing touchdowns.
So this poor guy had 334 yards, and no touchdowns. That might not be a bad play either, right? Like without Cooper Kupp, he had 334 yards. Mm-hmm. Those touchdowns will come.
It'll happen. Yeah.
You'll have positive regression. You'll if he just goes to whatever the average is supposed to be. I realized he threw 300 something yards. Like
that. He's 56% started, which is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be.
Well, LA's a California guy. The LA people, the truthers out there are going to play him anyways.
I think they just remember that Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Let me ask you a question here. Let me ask you both a question. How do we feel about Kenny Pickett after that? Like, are we selling him on week 1 or are we not overreacting?
I'm just holding right now, especially with Deontay. Hurt. I don't know. He's losing a big target, but he also threw 2 picks. So
I think week 1 you hold on to him. Give him.
Yeah. Also, it was the San Francisco defense. That's asking a lot. Yeah.
Against defender Evers on that.
Right. Cleveland's going to be a much different deal. So I don't know. I'd probably wait a week because his schedule from here on out is a lot easier than that first game. So he saw the hardest bit first.
I think I think week 2 hopefully will be very educational for a lot of quarterbacks. So I'm going to give you 4 names of people that scored less points than Zach Wilson. Okay, and just be surprised, right? So you can probably guess 2 of them, and 2 of them you might be surprised. So of course Joe Burrow,
of course, yeah,
and
82
Daniel
yards,
Jones,
of course,
scored less points than Zach Wilson. Okay, which is astonishing. Also, Dak Prescott in a 40-point blowout scored less than Zach Wilson. He had 6 points. So even in a 40-point blowout, you Cowboys fans, Dak Prescott still sucks.
Trash quarterback.
He is doo-doo.
And then Lamar Jackson scored 7 points.
Yep. Well, Dak's issue that game, let's be real, he didn't have to do much.
He's just going to run the ball.
The defense did the whole thing. They got so many turnovers. He didn't have the field to do more. Also, you're that far ahead, you don't have to keep throwing the ball.
Yep.
I don't like Dak as a quarterback. I don't think he's great. But, that low score wasn't really on him. It's just
fair.
His team was doing too well for him to score.
Here's the reality. When you have a defense that good, you don't need a great quarterback.
Right.
I mean, that defense can win games, guys.
Yeah.
Just saying, Josh, Kenny Pickett lost 30-7 and had more points than Daniel Jones. Just,
Now, you said that about Kenny. I was going to say, y'all are saying, hey, next week should be better. You're talking about the same team that held Joe Burrow to 7 points.
Well, Joe Burrow has this history of being real bad week 1 because he doesn't really play a lot of camp, and then he doesn't play preseason because he's always got that weird before the season starts injury. He's done this, it's 3 years straight. Week 1 has been an awful week for him. It's just part of it at this point. And then in Lamar's defense, he was missing his best target.
Yeah. No, because he has his new best target.
Oh, my God. He's not.
Zay
Calm
Flowers.
down. Calm down.
Zay Flowers.
Mark Andrews is literally 2 Zay Flowerses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hard word to say. But he's by far the best target on that team, and with him not being there, it's the same thing you saw with the Chiefs. It's the only reason they lost that game is because they were missing their best target.
Dude, talking about the Chiefs, can you believe that even Patrick Mahomes couldn't make garbage receivers look good?
Yep.
He tried. He
did his best.
Gave it his best.
They dropped so many fucking passes.
You know what? I got burned for this, and I'm ready to put it on the bet board, although I don't think anybody's going to take the bet.
No.
Kadarius Toney is trash. Okay, and
I've been saying that for 2 years.
I try to operate with some positivity. Okay, and it's week 1, and we don't overreact. So some people, when I said this on my social media platforms, were like, "Zach, you need to be easier." That cat is garbage. Okay,
Hot garbage.
You know, like Sky Moore is a year 2 guy. Okay, like I'm going to give him a benefit of the doubt. Justin Ross is basically a year 1 guy. He missed his rookie season. No Travis Kelce, and the tight ends really showed out without Travis Kelce. Like Blake Bell, Noah Gray were good.
Yep.
And then still kind of unproven running back situation. I mean, it's Isaiah Pacheco. He was fine, but he wasn't like an all-pro.
They split a lot. Like they used all 3 of them pretty evenly.
I think Pacheco looks good, man. I mean, even the announcers, I love the one comment I heard that made me laugh. They were like, he's the only running back that looks like he's running violently when there's no one around him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he likes he likes Marshawn tape, for sure.
He doesn't have the quit in him. He got that dog in him.
But Kadarius Toney is awful. I mean, I'm telling you, I would drop him. You couldn't pay me to keep the guy after that. Like, and I don't think that I'm going to eat crow on this and come back week 3 and say, like, man, week 2 he was really good. I just think that dude has, like, 0 passion for the game. I mean, he was wide open on these passes. That photo, Nolan, we will use that photo for years, where this cat is, like, the ball is frozen on his hand.
Freeze frame. Perfect pass. Should have been a perfect catch. And it is an interception.
And it's a pick 6.
Same with Keyshawn Boot. That dude needs to learn to toe touch. God, that game would have been so different if he just...
It's not college.
Did the little things, It's getting both your feet down. It's just he was too lackadaisical the whole game.
Oh, yeah.
That one, that one stuck with me.
Let's talk our favorite week 2 matchup, just team-wise. There are fantasy implications for everything, so we really can't jump into 32 different situations. But what's your favorite? If it's the Giants, Josh, I swear to God, what is your favorite week 2 matchup?
All right, so it's not the Giants. It's my not-so-dark horse Super Bowl winner of the year. It's Jacksonville and the Chiefs.
That was mine.
Dude, sorry.
Stolen.
I'm so excited to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jags play this year. They looked great. Like you said, like Christian Kirk, awesome player. But he was too busy making literally everyone else on the lineup look good.
Yep.
Kelce should be back. I think that'll be a great game, and I'm calling Jacksonville, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think mine's going to be, since you stole mine, let me do a quick little... I think it's going to be Miami, New England. The New England, solid defense. I want to see if Miami can do it again against them. And honestly, I'm just curious to see New England's offense, because Keyshawn Boot is probably at the lowest tier for me on the rookie wide receivers, but like, is Mac Jones going to throw 45 times again, which is insane?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to be able to redo it? Like, is Kendrick Bourne going to... What did he have? Like 11 targets, 8 catches, something?
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Like, oh, God. I don't know. I'm excited to see what New England does. I've always been iffy on Mac Jones. I have a feeling about it this year. I don't know. I'd like to see him go far.
Yep. For me, it's going to be the Are You For Real game of the week. San Francisco versus the LA Rams. So, because we're going to find out which one of these teams is for real. Like San Francisco, Brock Purdy did not miss a beat from last year coming in and like dominating a Mike Tomlin team, which is difficult.
Yeah.
Like they're scrappy squads, and they made them look like a not scrappy squad. And then Matt Stafford and the Rams team without Cooper Kupp, without Robert Woods, gone from previous seasons. And essentially with a rookie as a wide receiver 1 and a second-year running back out-snapping their other guy, this is going to be like an Are You For Real game, and it's a divisional matchup, right? So, it's a conference, of course, because it's divisional, it's conference, but it's a conference game, division game. Huge implications for the playoffs. So for me, that's it. And we've talked about a bunch of guys from those teams. This is an Are You For Real game for those two. So, and it's going to be on TV. Like, let's go. We'll be watching that one. All right, y'all. Well, look, Josh, I appreciate you jumping in. Third bunking it again. This makes your second 3-man bunk bed episode. Nolan, as always, it's great. Look,
someday Cole will be back.
Yeah, we'll see. Remember, y'all, Cole's
Newborn stuff. It's fine.
Yeah, Cole's got the newborn stuff. So look, don't forget, shout out Fantasy Football Advice Network. Go subscribe, become a part of the community, hang out with us.
Let me talk shit to you.
Yeah, we're with you. Look, if you post something on the site, there's a very high chance that one of us or all of us will jump on and tell you that's a garbage opinion. Or like that's the cool thing about fantasy football, right? It's in equal parts inclusive and exclusive. So, look, guys, I appreciate you. Y'all got anything for everybody before we get out of here?
No, I appreciate you too. It's not all him being appreciative.
I appreciate you guys. And
Nolan appreciates you. Josh appreciates you.
If you made it this far, I really appreciate you.
Find us on Spotify. Find us on YouTube. Find us on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you in week. We'll see you in week 3. Peace. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.